The following program contains adult language, poor taste in jokes, racial slurs, political slurs, slants, and all sorts of things that, if you are sensitive and have a delicate constitution, you should probably go watch Teletubbies. You were warned.
I ain't drunk, I'm just drinking.
But you're so high.
Oh man, you know I ain't high.
But you're so high.
Yeah, well I just take a little sip every now and then.
But you're so high.
You ought to be ashamed of
Stay
yourself.
drunk all
Oh,
the
come on now,
time.
you all don't feel like that.
Bam! Hey kids, happy Sunday. It is a gorgeous Sunday out too. I should probably be out there flying, but I have a really cool thing that we're gonna do. Because, you know, build videos are a bore. You just see some chump buy a bunch of shit and solder it together. It's like, ugh, whatever. And I am that chump, you know, a lot of the time. But one of my brothers in the club, we were all talking the other day on Hangouts. And, you know, there's, I don't know, 10 or 15 of us in there at the time talking. And his name, his pilot name is Twitch. It's my brother Joe out in New Jersey. And we just got to talking. And some of the guys talking about hydro dipping, and the other guys talking about building. And I said, I want to do a build-off with somebody, which most of the time people won't do with me just because I built so many birds or something, whatever. So my buddy Joe, Twitch, he's like, let's do it. All right, cool. And it really was funny because it started out in the first 20 minutes being really competitive. Like, well, we're going to judge it on this, and the guys are going to judge it. And then it came down to being, well, let's just both use the same type of frame and we'll set a price limit, which is cool. So the frame that so I'm not really sure what this is judged on. To make it kind of fun, what we're going to do is after it's done, his might be lighter, mine might be lighter, his might be faster, mine might be slower, whatever the case may be. We don't really care. We're just having fun. And then when we're done with the builds, he's going to send me his, I'm going to send me mine, so we can see really and fly the other person's bird to see exactly how they're different. Which is pretty cool. So what we decided to do, he picked out a frame off Amazon because we wanted to do it a budget build, not a super expensive, crazy, you know, like the shit I usually do. And he picked this frame off Amazon. I was like, dude, I cannot in good conscience build that frame. I'm not going to do it. It's got to be a quality bird. It can be reasonable, but it's got to be a quality bird. So I said, let's do the Aurora, the Space One Aurora frame. And you guys may or may not remember, if you've been a long time subscriber, I built one of these frames a while back, and we called it the Zombie, and had Deadpools on it, and it was the Stretched X Aurora. And he's like, it's only $35 frame, but they are tough as fucking nails. Very, very strong frame. And he goes, yeah, let's do that. So Twitch bought the Stretched X, and I bought the Stock X, or the Standard X, because I honestly like them better. But, and our price limit, excluding build material and excluding the receiver, is $250. So that's everything in. The frame, the guts, everything. So I ordered my frame, he ordered his frame, and all my stuff came in, and I'm building this actually a week in advance. You guys won't be seeing this video until he and I release to the club our builds, and then everybody on YouTube can see them. So it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be fun. I've never done this before, so it's going to be cool. But what we're going to do, and getting back to the idiot buying a bunch of shit and gluing it together, we're going to do some customizing, and I'm going to video the whole thing. It might be installments, it might be whatever, I don't know. But what we're going to do is we're going to modify the frame, because I do know this frame, and I know how I like it, and I know how I don't. So I'm going to show you guys all that too. So the Space One frame, I've already taken it and sanded it down. I got the high gloss off of it. I use, what do I use? 220 sandpaper, but I don't use it wet. The whole point is you want a little bit of stickum to it, you know. But this is the Straight X. It's very, very cool. It's a 3 mil, is that 3 or 4 mil? Fuck, I don't remember. My mill skill isn't even out here. Use one of these analog jobbies. Digital, I should say. Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, error, 4 mil. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be using this, but I'm gonna modify it. I am gonna do a dip job on this, which, just to be cool, you know, it's not gonna add a ton of weight, and it's just gonna make it look cooler. So that's what we're gonna do. But I am going to modify this frame. one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing to the belt sander, and I'm going to take off this third lobe for the motors. There is absolutely no structural need for that, and it's just more weight I can take off. So we're going to take that off. I did a little bit of experimenting earlier with something here, just ignore this white stripe. And then, like I said, we sanded this down. And then that frame also comes with these camera mounts. Shit, I can't even get them out. Space One for 35 bucks, man. They give you a fuck ton of stickers. Look at these. Bam! Ton of stickers. They give you the frame, which is, this thing is tough as nails, man. I mean, it's just, it flexes just enough, but it's so fucking strong. I have to say it's Jason proof. It really is. It's, trust me. And it comes with these fucking gay ass camera mounts that go in here and here. And this is a great frame, but I just think it's ugly as shit unless you modify it. And then this goes here. And then if I remember right, where's the bits and bobs? There's 30 mil standoffs here. Bam, bling. I'll keep the screws, I suppose. And there's some camera mount screws, which is kind of cool. So they give you all the hardware you need, which is really nice. Yeah, 30 mil. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep this. I'm going to rough this up with a little bit of sandpaper. We're going to prime that. We're going to prime this. I might dip both sides, but I'm probably only dipping one because I don't care and I don't want a ton of weight on this thing. I'm taking the camera mounts and I'm throwing them away. Okay? I'm taking these stupid things, which I've never even figured out what they're for. I don't know. Throwing those away. I'm throwing the standoffs away. So really, I'm keeping the screws and I'm keeping the top plate. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to take off. And you guys are going to see as we go along what we're going to do with this. So, and I'm not sharing the guts with you until I'm doing guts as we need them. But remember, this is going to be a Mega Race $250 bird that's going to blow your fucking minds. It's going to be like faster than a Catholic chick on a Friday night, man. No offense to the Catholics, but you know what I'm saying. She gonna be quick. Yeah, I'm not gonna modify the top plate. I'm gonna modify the bottom plate. We're gonna sand these off, and then I'm gonna go prime it. What I'm gonna prime it with is this crap. Just good old-fashioned Rust-Oleum 2X paint and primer. It's gray, well, silver, whatever. And I wrote good on it, so I remember this is a decent one. This stuff dries as fast as you put it on. So I'm gonna grind these off, and I'm gonna go prime it. And then we're gonna, I'm gonna come back and show you what I did, and then we're gonna do the dip. I'm even including the dip in this. So bam, I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So what we're gonna do, one of my friends on the channel said, could you give me your entire hydro dipping setup? And I was like, I don't really have a setup. I went out, because I do 95%. I either do frames, frame parts, or transmitters and stuff, so I don't need a huge tank. So I get this guy, it's 2 feet by a foot or something like that, about 6 inches deep, it's plenty. Use warm bath water, pretty much. Almost hot is fine. This is the transfer that we're doing. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like American flag skulls. So I will only be doing one side of the frame because I'm almost out. And hopefully my phone don't fall on the thing. That's going to make for a funny fucking video. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this soaking. Shit, I just totally fucked this up. Let's see if we can save it. Wow. Daddy screwed that one up, kids. Well, maybe. We're going to try it. I think I fucked this up. That's okay. We're going to give it a shot. So what we did with the frame is I sanded off the base pieces and gave it a shot of, whatchamacallit, primer. So we're going to see how this works. I did bevel the edges a little bit, but you're not even going to see them, so I don't really care. I think I can work around the wet spots on this, so that's not the end of the world. I don't have much of this dip left, so if I screw this up, yeah, then we're doing a different dip, and we're cleaning it off. Make your roto twister, boom. So you want to set this so you don't want water on top, that's bad. But you want to set this so it'll wrinkle up and then it'll go kind of smooth again. That's when you know you're good. So let me find my spray. Okay. Roto twister. All right. Let's try this. If you get that in your roto twister, it makes it better. All right. I usually let the film sit in there about a minute, and then with the activator on, it's about 20 seconds. I'm going to see if I can get a decent grip on this frame. There we go. Beautiful. So now we're going to try to not get this fucked up. Oops. I don't care about the bottom. I can fix that. Oh, that turned out cool. I like it. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take this out. Yeah, that's going to work. That looking bad, son. So we're going to take this, put it somewhere. Hang on. Because now we're going to do the little part as well, the top. So one thing that I usually do, I'll take a bunch of paper towels and I'll just kind of smear it over. This one doesn't have to be perfectly clean because it's a very, very small piece. So I'm just going to kind of wave the shit out of the way. If this were another big piece, I would totally just dump this water. But we'll be all right. Bam, like that. As long as there's nothing underneath it, we're okay. Now, you see, I don't know if you guys can see, but it got really crinkly curly there, right? I would zoom in the phone, but I don't want to accidentally knock it off into the water. So, and then you're going to see this smooth out. And what the smoothing out is, it's absorbing the water. All right. So the next piece we're going to do, where to put it? Smoking hot wife interruption. Be right back. All right, sorry about that. Not really sure where I was at, but anyway, this has been soaking. We're going to take another needle nose. We primed our piece on the top. Right here. Okay. Give her a squirt. All right, and then we're going to do this. Sometimes I like to try to get both the top and bottom just for fun. Been successful with that a couple times. Yeah, that's going to be cool. All right, I'm going to go rinse these off and I'll be right back. And we're back. So here we are. It's turned out really, really nice. I like it. Yeah. Now, I did not do the bottom because I don't care. That's what kind of came off, you know, when I did the original dip. It'll scrape right off, I'm sure. I don't care. So, we put about 3 layers of clear coat on there. Here's the top. All right, now, the motors that we're going to use are 2306, 2700 kV Wild Willies, because these are the exact same motors that I put on the Candy Jadina. All right, now, and I did pop test that today, and oh my god, they're bad. So here's what we're gonna do though. One thing I noticed, and I want to give this a kind of a shout out to everybody that wants to use these motors, whether it's the 2700s or 2500s, you see the screw sits way out past the frame, which isn't unusual. But one of the things I noticed, when you hydro dip a frame, obviously you lose a little bit of clearance on where it mounts to, and in this case, a fuck ton. So what we're gonna do, these will burn up. If you mount these to that frame right now, they will burn up. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take a Dremel, hang on, ew, big mess, with a stone, okay? And we are going to Dremel out with the stone that hole. It is way too fucking small for these motors. They will not even spin. Here, check this shit out. I'm showing you right now. They won't even sit flush. See if I can get it. Can you see that? That's bad. So, win-win. So what we're going to do is we're going to hone these out with the stone and get these a little bit wider. We're going to get a little bit lighter, and the motors will fucking work. So here we go. This is a Dremel tool. I love this thing. You can get these at Lowe's. This is an extension that runs on a flex cable. It hooks to your Dremel tool, which is over here permanently mounted to the side of my bench. And watch. Okay? Okay. Get a little bit more horsepower. Okay. Now, woo, that smells good. All right, let's wipe that off. See what it looks like. It's burning through. Okay. And that's fine. I don't care. I mean, it fucked up. It got really, really hot, and it fucked up my dip, which is okay because you're not going to see it. It's going to be covered up by the friggin' motor, so we're not going to get too anal about that. All right. Now, oh, she fits nice and smooth. So I'm going to do the other three, and that is absolutely perfect. And trying to get Yoda too dirty. I have to give him a bath, but that's basically what it's going to look like. So do not mount Wild Willies onto a Space One Aurora without doing this first, or nothing but smoke will come out of your motor. So bam, be right back. All right, so now what we've got is a nice burny smell in the garage, but it's okay because that's exactly what I wanted. We made a nice conical. And did it weaken the frame? Sure, a little bit. But we are going for an all-out light, stupid fast bird. Did it weaken that point? A little bit, but not a lot. But we used the cone instead of drilling through because it still leaves you a lot of meat on the bottom. Look, the bottoms are still the same. So you didn't lose all your strength. But, you gotta... Don't use these motors with this frame unless you're willing to do this. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, and usually I always show you guys, I tell you guys, build from the motors in. What I'm going to do in this go around, we're going to build from the flight controller out because I want to see how far I can get this thing slammed down, all right? Because normally this frame, if you build it to stock specifications, is going to be about that high, which is really, really fucking gay. So we're going to bring it down to like here. That's my goal. So we are using, I was going to use the HGLRC F438. And then I ended up putting it into my Jadina, Candy Jadina, you know, the mold. Wow. Yeah, that's the first. I'm not even going to edit that out. I just had a major crash. Anyway, so I put that stack in here because it was more important to me. And the reason I did that was I want to use Cicada in this, which you guys are thinking, okay, whoop-de-doo, a 30 amp F4, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but the thing of it is, if I would have used the... And this is like, what, $3 cheaper than the F438? The reason I wanted to use this is because it's so flat. I don't have to deal with dual boards. And one of the things that we're going for here is very light, very streamlined quad. So I love my old Cicadas. I use them in a lot of builds. I have never blown one. So you know what? For the money, bam. Remember, this is a $250 quad that's going to be an absolute fucking nightmare. So what we're going to do, this is the front, that curved bit's the front, and we're going to mount this baby right here. But instead of using normal standoffs, hang on a tick, we are going to use standoffs, but we're going to use plastic screws. And I always told you guys, don't use plastic screws, use metal screws, because when you crash, the battery strap can, you know, go forward or backward, depending on how you crash, and bust your plastic screws. This is very true. and no different in this case. However, I'm not using metal because, again, we're trying to save weight. My goal is to be under 250 grams with 8 million horsepower. So, but instead of using normal standoffs, they're going to be this high. I'm going to put a plastic screw through the bottom, put a nut on it instead, because a nut, well, a plastic nut like this, is going to be half the depth of this, and we'll be able to slam that stack down. So I'm thinking 4 screws. Oh yeah, that's going to be sharp. And then 1 nut, just enough to get a battery strap under, and then we're going to slam this bitch up. So bam, let me find the screws, set this thing up. I'll show you what I did. Be right back. And we're back. So here's what we did. I did not have, I'm out of nylon screws, the really long ones, which I used to use a lot of, and I'm out. So what I did was I took these little standoffs and I cut them in half. So I basically went like this, cut them in half, and then I straightened them out a little bit, and then used them. So it gave me about the same as a nut width. And that's what we ended up with. All I want, my goal here is to get a strap through the bottom. That is it, okay? The next goal that we're gonna do is all we wanna do is try to put a receiver on there, and I have done this. ISA mounting or vibration protection of an F4 is completely fucking useless. Do not believe the hype. I never ISA mount these boards, and they're fine. That's basically an Omnibus F4, and it's perfectly fine. And I have many, many, many times mounted my receiver to the top of the board. I try to avoid the chip a little bit as much as possible, but I use rubber tape, and it works great. So that's how we're going to do that. My other goal is to take... Hang on. A VTX02 or 3, what is this one? VTX03, whatever, it doesn't matter, same thing. We are actually going to keep the antenna on it. We're going to do our little heat trick that I do, and we'll go over that. And we're going to attempt, and this is how I do a lot of my builds, we're going to mount that to the camera. I don't know if this is the actual camera I'm going to use. Let's see, do we have a black one? Hopefully this one's black. Built-in OSD plastic case. It's faster just to open it. Red, right? Okay. So, yeah, all right. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to worry about colors on this one. We'll use the red, we'll use the black, whatever. But one of the things I like to do is mount the VTX to the camera. Bam, like this, right? Works very, very, very well. Mount it just like that. We got just enough room to hit the switch, and that saves a lot of space, okay? Now, because I don't want the heat to be on here. So then the next thing we need to do, that's easy. Excuse me, that's easy enough. What we need to do now is figure out how deep can we slam this, and how, excuse me, are we going to mount the camera. That's the trick with this. I've been down this road before, and the last bird that I built, we're going to use their screws because they have good screws, but we are going to shit can their stand. Look at how high these fuckers are. 30 mil. Fuck that. Looks stupid. We're going to get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some black standoffs. Let's see. Their screws go halfway up, but by the time you add the frame, bam. Okay, it's going to be perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in, just finger tight, and we're just going to figure out how we're going to do. These are 20 mil standoffs. My goal is to actually cut these down by 5. We shall see. I think we might be stuck at 20. We'll find out. Okay, so I'll put links in the description of this video to all the stuff that I'm using to hypermod this thing. The monster, that's what I'm going to call this. The last one I did that was similar to this, not nearly as powerful, is the zombie, which is a great, great build, but that was the stretched X version. All right, we got a ton of fucking room in there, all right? Think about it. All we have to do is add an XM Plus receiver, which is what, 2 mil thick? and we can lay that right across there. So if we can figure out a good way to mount the camera, that's what we're gonna do. So just for giggles and grins, and this is one of the things that you want to get used to, guys. Dry fit this shit. Don't be afraid to dry fit things. So we're gonna take this piece of tape, we're gonna flip it over like this. Dry fit. Don't just assume everything's gonna work. I've built so many fucking birds, I don't even remember what I built. Guys will send me messages on the channel, be like, dude, remember when you did blah blah blah, how'd you do that? And I'm like, fuck, I don't remember. That's what you gotta do. Dry fit these things, make sure they're gonna work. So we're gonna do this. Nothing fancy, I don't give a shit. This is just a dry fit. This is not gonna be permanent. And we'll just stick it right there. Bam, okay? So that's what we got. We folded the tape in half. We got a good heat insulation between the camera and the VTX, and that camera is gonna have to go here. But I do remember that the bitch of this frame was the fact that when I threw away their camera mount, which is totally nasty, it was very difficult to get the angle that I wanted. What I did on Zombie was I drilled through these two slots and put two more standoffs in, and I mounted the camera to those two standoffs. But I'm going to try to avoid that. We're going to see what I can come up with, and when I come up with it, I'll be right back. Bye. Bam, and we're back. So what I did, I ended up doing the same thing I did on Zombie. I took a drill bit that was about 3 mil, so you want to be sure that you can fit a 3 mil screw through the hole that you drill, which is right there. And I drilled it through the forward points of those slots and the forward points of the slots on the top plate. Exact same principle. And just so happens, we have just that many screws left over. So we're going to put in 2 more standoffs. Again, we're doing dry fits. We're trying to figure out, we're completely modifying the design of a frame. All right. So we are going to make sure that we know the shit's gonna fit. Now, I've been down this road before. We are adding a little bit of weight, very little, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're going to attach the top with 2 plastic screws, all right? Let me dig some up. Why am I using plastic screws? Well, it doesn't even matter. We can use whatever the fuck we want, but the whole point is this thing's gonna be light. So I actually do plan on attaching this entire top with plastic because I want to save weight. I do not care about the top. And I wanna see, take some measurements. What we wanna do first when you're re-engineering a frame is you wanna figure out how everything's gonna mesh up. Okay, so I just knocked this from 30 to 20. I can live with that if I have to. Okay, what I call a slam job. So we slammed this down, and we got a little cage in the front. It's kind of cool looking, but we have to figure out how the camera is going to mount in here. Are we going to be able to use the VTX in there? Don't know. That is not really a priority. Narrow this down to the priorities. First off, you have to have a fucking camera there. We know this camera is going to fit in there perfect. Now, on the Zombie build, what I did was I drilled holes through the standoffs for M2 screws, and I mounted it in there just like that. So I can get plenty of angle on that. No problem. Nice and perfect. Not a big deal at all. I'll take these 2 standoffs in there and I will put them in a vise and drill the shit out of them. Right about there is probably perfect because you got to think about your connector, right? That's cool. Great. You know, can I lower it? Sure, maybe. I fly really extreme angle. So yeah, I want to be able to at least do that. Notice my connector is all the way down. That's not kosher. So we're going to have to go up here. Probably be able to do that. Yes, your camera's going to be exposed, but this is not for a virgin. This is a badass fucking build. Somebody that knows how to fly on a skill level. You know, I probably shouldn't even fly this fucking thing. I get it. Now, that leaves us a ton of room. We know we can do it like that. So, if you find the camera angle that you need, okay, I know for a fact I'm going to have to go think about this from an engineering standpoint, guys. You're going to have a cable sitting out there, and if it helps you, stick the cable in there so you know. And I'm going to want at least a pitch of that. So we got to bring it up to that. Actually, 20 millimeters is probably where it needs to be, honestly. I mean, that's not... I really wanted to get it lower than that, but I don't see how I'm going to be able to do it, because the reason I say that is, like, you're thinking, okay, well, that's down to there, just cut that much off. No, you can't, because see where the camera is hitting the frame. You don't want to run into that mess where it doesn't fit. So that's fine. That'll give me a little bit more room to play in here. Bam, we'll be good. So I'm not concerned about that at all. Nice and easy. It's going to look really sharp. No problem at all. So we'll figure out a way to mount our VTX to the top frame. I am going to keep the dipole antenna on there because this is a race frame. Dipole antennas work great when you're not flipping around and fucking up. Okay, so we're not going to put a far view on there. Hoo, blasphemy. So I really don't even have to slam that stack that far, but I'm going to anyway, because I'm going to mount my VTX somehow in here, and I want to have a good amount of heat insulation. So what we're going to do next is we're going to mount the motors. We know this is all going to work out. There's no way, I don't believe, unless I hard solder wired those wires to the camera. Well, let's find out. Fuck it. We got a camera. Uh-oh. Where's my camera cable? Alright, that's no matter. I got a bunch of them. I know for a fact I can probably get it to there. I could cut this down another 2 mil. Is it worth it? I have to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 standoffs down by 2 millimeters, because what you're measuring off of, again, is this camera corner to the top plate. Is it worth it? And remember, you go like this, it gets higher. It's really not worth it. We're just going to keep it at 20. Fuck it. That's nice, safe, good, happy. We'll mount the VTX. We'll bring the antenna up through here. We're going to mount the motors on next. So with the motors, what you want to do, we only have two screws on these motors. So the big thing with this is use Loctite. A lot of times I don't use Loctite on motors because I'm using all 4 screws. These screws are not going to be long enough, I can tell already. But when you're only using 2, you might want to use Loctite. Nope, not even going to come close. So we're going to have to use new motor screws. Yeah, I really wish manufacturers would give you more, okay? What we're going to do with the motors then is, after we get them mounted, instead of doing a braid, I'm going to use flat line straight back. The reason being, flat line is the least amount of wire that you're going to use. If you braid it, you use 2 to 3 times as much wire. I want to save weight. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a nice straight back underneath the frame to protect them and to show off our dip. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to find longer screws, and we're going to mount them in here. We're going to Loctite them because we're only using 2. So bam, be right back. Bam, and we're back. So here we go, all mounted up and ready to rock and roll. Now, only downfall is I really wish I could have slammed that stack more. I'm debating about, I can't angle it. Well, that's okay. It is what it is, kids. Camera angle is everything, because if you cannot get a decent camera angle on these pigs, it's not worth building because you won't be able to fly it. This is a race bird. This thing is going to have to go, my opinion, about like that. Okay? So, not quite that much. Maybe like that. That's going to be about perfect. So, what we're going to do with the motors now, because of this type of frame, you can see that it's these motor wires don't line up perfectly. That's fine. We're probably going to wrap them around just like this. Or we'll do a split like this. I haven't decided yet. We'll figure something cool out. So that pretty much does it for the first version, or first episode of this. Going to be, this bird's all fucking motor, guys. Look at that. I mean, it's gonna be sick. So, until next time, bam, keep shining side up. Talk soon. Bye.
Bam, JJ! Hope you like fishing. Bam, JJ! Hey, JJ!